Hey everyone, welcome to another video. It's mid-January, so we've all probably given up on our New Year's resolutions by now. You know, that's just how things go. Maybe you wanted to get fit on the bike this year, but it's January, it's too cold to ride outside. You don't want to spend all that money on a new indoor training setup, so you bought like a Good Life membership instead, and you've been riding on those spin bikes doing the spin classes, but they're not really cutting it for you. Well, you're in luck because you don't actually have to spend all that money to get an indoor setup at home. I'm going to go through kind of all the options you have out there, working up in budget, so you can choose what is right for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so starting off, if you have pretty much no money, maybe like 50 bucks, what I would get is one of these kind of dumb indoor trainers. You're kind of in luck now because everybody's moving to these smart trainers. So there's so many of these dumb trainers that are on the market now, secondhand. You can even pick them up for free occasionally. And then other than that, if you have a fan at home, great, you can use that. If not, you should probably buy a fan because a fan is paramount in indoor training. Then the next range is kind of if you have around $400 to $500 to spend. The first thing I'd do is buy a power meter if you don't already. So I wouldn't worry too much about upgrading the trainer. I'd prefer to have a dumb trainer plus power meter than a smart trainer and no power meter. And the reason for this is because the power meter is more useful because you can use it outside in the summer as well. Also, something that confused me when I was first getting into indoor training was how Zwift works with all of this technology. So it's worth noting, obviously Zwift works with all smart trainers, but if you have a dumb trainer and a power meter, you can still ride on Zwift. So your power will show up on the screen and your character will move through the world like it normally does for people with smart trainers. The only difference is your trainer's resistance won't get adjusted. So you can still partake in Zwift races and all these Zwift events. You just can't actually feel the terrain change. But let's say you already have a power meter and you want to upgrade your trainer for this price. So around here, I'd be looking at the secondhand market and you'd probably be getting something like a Tax Flux or a Wahoo Kicker. Both of these are really good trainers. They're super quiet and have really good ride experiences, so you wouldn't be disappointed with either of these. If you're lucky, you may even be able to find a Wahoo Kicker Core or an original Tax Neo for this price point. Personally, my favorite is the Tax Neo. I've used this trainer for a long time now. I can't even keep track. But the thing is absolutely bomb-proof. So if you can get one for around this price, I would definitely recommend picking it up. So the next price bracket is if you have around $1,000. So in this price bracket, I'd still recommend the secondhand trainers. Maybe you could afford one of the nicer secondhand trainers, so an original Tax Neo, maybe a Tax Neo 2, or the Wahoo Kicker Cores. Once again, my recommendation is with the Tax Neo because they're absolutely bomb-proof. But then with the rest of the money, I'd be looking to upgrade kind of the accessories. And the most important accessory to upgrade is your fan. So indoor training is inherently kind of limited by the temperature, and your body creates heat and that limits how hard you can push yourself, and how hard you can push yourself limits how strong you're going to get in the future. So if you want to get stronger in the future, you need to invest in a good cooling solution. So I have a larger Honeywell floor fan and it seems to do the trick, but yeah, you definitely want something bigger that can move a lot of air. And then another nice to have upgrade around this price point is a nice desk to have everything mounted to. So you could buy the special Wahoo desk that's specifically made for indoor training, but I think that's kind of a waste of money. They're super expensive. Instead, I'd look on the secondhand market and buy kind of a more general purpose standing desk like I have here. This one's actually super good because it has two kind of individual leaves, which you can adjust the height of. And each one can be adjusted individually, obviously. So the one leaf in front I have a bit lower and my screen's mounted on there, and then the one leaf in the back, it's a bit higher and the fan rests on there, so it's blowing right into my face and not getting blocked by the screen. Then the next big steps in budget come when you start looking into actually buying a new trainer, so one of these new smart trainers, or the next big thing you could do is actually buy a smart bike. I don't know too much about these things and there's so many videos online already about them, so I'll let you guys watch those. I'd recommend looking at like Shane Miller and DC Rainmaker if that's kind of the budget you're working with. Anyways, with that stuff out of the way, let me give you guys a tour of my indoor setup and how I have my pain cave set up. My girlfriend and I spend a lot of time on the indoor trainers, so we've kind of planned our apartment around the indoor trainers. So they have prime real estate in front of one of the few windows that we have in the apartment because, as I mentioned before, cooling is the most important part of indoor training if you want to get the most out of yourself. My girlfriend rides a Tax Neo, and I have recently upgraded from the Tax Neo to the Tax Neo 2T. The reason for this upgrade is because I've just recently got a through axle bike, and there is an adapter kit, but because my Tax Neo has gone through so much wear and tear, the end caps are kind of just welded onto the Tax Neo, so I can't actually get them off to fit the adapter kit. So I've had to upgrade to a Tax Neo 2T just to adapt to a through axle bike. We both have 18-inch Honeywell floor fans, and they're definitely good fans. If you're looking for a fan, I'd recommend it. It is a bit pricey, but it's a good fan at the end of the day. And then, like I mentioned, we both didn't want to spend a lot of money on these kind of specific indoor trainer desks, so we bought these kind of 2-leaf system desks. We both picked them up for around $30 on Facebook Marketplace, so there's plenty of them in our area at least, and I'd imagine there's a lot near you too. Then in addition to the kind of standard exercise mat, we have these additional vibration dampening pads underneath each of our trainers. And that's just as a courtesy to our downstairs neighbor because we live in an old wood building and the vibrations really do travel. I also own 2 bikes. So I have one that is my kind of nice bike that I ride during nice weather. And when the weather kind of gets bad, I make sure it's clean and I put it on the indoor trainer for the rest of winter. And then I have the cyclocross bike, which I use throughout winter. My girlfriend, not so lucky. She only has 1 bike right now. So we have to take it on and off the trainer. And it does get kind of filthy and track mud throughout the house. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, so that's the end of today's video. Let me know, do you agree with my budget breakdown there, or are there better ways and more effective ways you can spend your money when setting up your indoor training setup? Also, leave a comment. What do you think of my indoor setup? How could I make it better? Yeah, I spend so much time on it, so maybe someone has some suggestion out there that I've never even thought of. Since it is the winter, we're in peak indoor training season, so there's gonna be a couple more indoor videos coming up. So yeah, look forward to those. See you next time.